is Connor Barnes, and today I'll be presenting or demonstrating how to play all the chords in the key of C major. Now, you may have tried to learn guitar before, and you may have quit because it became frustrating or difficult. Now, it's important that whenever you learn guitar, you start with basics like simple chords. This is because simple chords allow you to develop more easily and more readily as a guitarist, and as a result, become a better guitarist. Now today, I will be demonstrating how to play every single chord in the key of C major, and that includes the C major chord, the D minor chord, the A minor chord, the E major chord, the F major chord, the G major chord, and the B diminished chord. Now, to begin, we will start with the C major chord and the D minor chord. To play the C major chord, you'll want to start with your ring finger on the A string of the 3rd fret. That is this right here. And your middle finger will want to be on the 2nd fret of the D string. And your pointer finger, your index finger, will want to be on the 1st fret of the B string, like that. If you have all your fingers here placed directly on the frets, pressed hard so you make sure it strums and touching no other strings, and you strum it, you'll play a C major chord. And that's the C major chord. There's a diagram here that shows you exactly where you need to put your fingers. This is the D minor chord. It's a little bit more complicated. To begin, you put your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and your index finger on the 1st fret of the high E string. And in this chord, you want to make sure that you do not play the low E string or the A string. You want to mute those strings or just not strum them. So you want to avoid strumming them whenever you strum. So if you strum these 4 strings with your fingers on the correct frets, you have a D minor chord. Next, we will learn the E major chord. And then along with that, we will learn the F major chord and the G major chord. The E major chord is one of the simplest chords in all of chords while playing guitar. To play it, you get your middle finger and press it down on the 2nd fret of the A string, and you get your ring finger and press it on the 2nd fret of the D string. And you don't mute any strings here, so as long as you have both your fingers pressed tightly in those frets, you strum it, and you have an E major chord. Next, we will learn the F major chord, which is considered one of the hardest chords for a beginner and in the C major scale, or the C major key. To play this chord, you have to do a bar. This is called a bar chord. You get to bar your finger along the 1st fret. And after that, you put your ring finger on the 2nd fret of the G string and your pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the D string. And this is also one where you want to make sure you don't play the low E string or the A string. You want to only play the 4 bottom strings of the guitar, all while keeping a tight bar on the 1st fret. So if you play this correctly, you'll have an F major chord. Next, you will learn the G major chord, which is one of my personal favorites. To begin this chord, you want to get your middle finger and press it on the 3rd fret of the low E string, your index finger, and press it on the 2nd fret of the A string, and your pinky, you want to reach all the way down and press on the 3rd fret of the high E string. Make sure whenever you're playing this chord not to touch any other strings, otherwise it'll mute those strings. So strum while you're pressing down all those frets, and you'll have a G major chord. Next, we will learn the last 2 chords, which are the A minor chord and the B diminished chord. This is the A minor chord, another one of my personal favorites. In this, you want to make sure that you have your middle finger and press it down on the 2nd fret of the D string, your ring finger and press it on the 2nd fret of the G string, and your index finger on the 1st fret of the B strings. In this, whenever you're playing this chord, you want to make sure that you do not strum the top E string or the low E string. So if you have all of your fingers on the frets and you strum, and without strumming the top E string or the low E string, you have an A minor chord. Lastly, we learn the B diminished chord. In this chord, you want to bar the 7th fret, and then with your middle finger, press down on the 8th fret of the D string, and with your pinky, or the 8th fret of the G string, and with your pinky finger, press on the 8th fret of the high E string. This one is also very difficult for beginners, and it's rarely used, it's not used very often. And also with this fret, you can slide it up and down the fretboard, and it'll come out that's sounding really similar. So as long as you're barring the fret and pressing down on the correct frets, and you play it, you'll have a B diminished chord. That is all the chords in the key of C major. And if you learn to play all these chords and you can play them in succession and make chord progressions with them, you can become a better guitarist and learn to play more smoothly and just become better at music overall.